Hello everybody, it's Harper and we're going into training mode because a new Guilty Gear patch dropped. And while I am not streaming Guilty Gear because boy, I guess I've been intimidated. My relationship with this game, at least regarding streaming, has changed. I still love it. Giovanna is my favorite character to play as in any game, and she got some changes. But there was also a big system change, which is that Faultless Defense got buffed a ton. As you can see, if somebody is using Faultless Defense, which requires meter to use, there's a set amount of knockback. It's particularly egregious in the corner, which means that Giovanna's corner pressure, if you're in a matchup against Giovanna, it can sort of be stuffed by use of FD if you're willing to use a resource. Good news is there's a block string. If you do close slash 2H 214K, at least you it's a true block string there, so you don't need to worry. You could run up and throw and do other things too. I don't know how I feel about this change. It's a nerf for Giovanna. It's also a nerf for various other characters, including characters like Gold Lewis, or other people who really take advantage of like Guard Crush. It's not the worst thing in the world, especially because in my experience, people, at least right now, day one of this patch, haven't really seemed to value the power of FD against Giovanna. That would change, right? But here we can see, let's assume that Kai wants to jab, poke me out after the FD stuff happens. It's not like I don't have options. I just need to be kind of predictive. Like I can counter hit his attack, or if I think he's trying to do something else, I could dash up and dash K. 5K him. That's tricky too. It's something you have to react to. But the good news is it's possible because we have more control over our dash now. Giovanna's biggest buff for this patch is that her neutral is very, very good now. She had it so her dash was not radically altered, but altered plenty enough so that when you are dashing around, you can pretty much cancel into an attack or other thing immediately. You're going to see a bunch of danger and negative bonuses here because I'm hopping around. But the big thing here is that sometimes you would have had some forward momentum and slide. Some other characters have this. For instance, that was one of the buffs that Kai got that allowed him to expand some of his neutral. For Giovanna, it's not quite the opposite, but it's a different philosophy. She can really duck and dash and stop back and forth. This will lead to a variety of new combo routes based upon short micro dashes and things like that just weren't possible before. That and the addition of many of the aerial attacks to Gatling into each other, so jump heavy Gatlings into jump dust or things like that, means that there will be new combos that we'll find. Even if with Faultless Defense, Giovanna will suffer a little bit in the corner, her pressure won't be as oppressive, which is a bit of a bummer, but it's not impossible. It just is going to require some adjustment and a little bit more thinking on our part. It makes it a little harder for Giovanna to get in if the enemy is really willing to spend resource, but Giovanna is still a character that if you get in, and people, they're saving their resource for RC or for a counter or whatever, or you're really still pressuring them enough that they're burning through that FD that they don't have it enough, then eventually you can do some stuff. Here, this is me just going through combos again to see if some things changed. Good news is one of the more basic routes did not. That one you saw there. And then here I just wanted to test, and I do it kind of poorly. One of the changes, which is that Sol Nascente got a change where the upper hitbox was extended, but the lower hitbox was kind of changed, so that, a lot of people would do run up Sol Nascente as a sort of almost like a run up DP, or they would try and do Sol Nascente on wake up as a DP. Instead, now it's more solidified as an anti-air. This was a chance for me to see if I could incorporate it into combos, though. I find these two jab combos a little awkward to do sometimes because of the pushback. So I wanted to practice it, but you can do it. And then, this, again, the standard, one of the more standard RC reds that you're ever going to see on Giovanna, and I'm botching it a little, but, you know, yeah, close slash, far slash, heavy slash into RC, into another close slash, 2H into Travau, very common. The other option is that after you do the RC, you'll just do a forward heavy. So you'll go into your air Rekka, which is fine because it can set you up for some Okazemi, because even though, you know, there are still, you know, there are changes that have happened, close slash remains a meaty option for us when people are waking up, which is fine. It has some additional, I think, gosh, what is it? Is it knockback or blowback? One of the two, which means that it's not as reliable as it was as a combo tool before, but it's not like it's not reliable. You see me incorporating it into plenty of things. This is just me practicing some strings that I've done before. This is me working off Rust. I started, you know, I played one night at the start of this month, and then I was like, well, I'm not going to play a lot because I know a patch is coming. So I've been playing a lot of Melty Blood, a lot of Street Fighter, some Grand Blue. I think Grand Blue is going to become a much more casual pastime of mine, because I want to focus on Strive more, because I'm not executing to the level that I was previously, even though this is the second time in Celestial, but the range of skill in Celestial is so varied that I am so intimidated by it that it's one of the reasons I don't stream those matches anymore, even though most of today was in open park, so that, you know, we're just kind of learning things. Everybody, patch day, open park is the place to be, although I did fight some Celestial players in open park. This is testing new combo routes off of counter hits. You know, that's a good combo off of Counter Dust. This is another one that I think we're working to link two Sepulturas together, and we're using that dash 5k in order to make that happen. Oh no, this is a different one. This is the one where we confirm into the first hit of the Rekka and then do Tempestad. So a nice cool thing that you can do from just a simple counter hit Dust 2D that can wall break and do a lot. These are not optimal combos. This is just me messing around with the movement system with some very basic ideas, things that people were talking about in Discords that I wanted to try executing on. And then like Sol Nascente now, that's a jump option, which I'm sure will be expanded with more things, doing jump close, really making that air string more interesting. And then this is just me trying to see what corner stuff could happen. So, you know, say I push somebody to the corner and I meaty them with close slash. What are some options that I have? Well, one is to maybe try and do this jump in. It's not a complete safe jump. It can lose out to 6Ps if you're not careful, but you know, it'll lose out to DPs probably too. They're probably safer jumps than this, but I wanted to see like, okay, now that I can string these air attacks together, can I do these more consistent falling hits, and can I link them into a special attack at the end? And the answer is yeah. You can go down, you can just 2k and do a lot of stuff. This is another good combo: wall break, standing into Travau, into far, then standing into Ventania. It's all very good. These are just things that I was playing around with. And now we're going to show off selected matches. I'm going to comment, but again, remember, just like, I'm intimidated by Strive again, suddenly, just, you know, so this is not every match, but it is a fair amount of the matches I played today. Okay, so we're starting with a Celestial Ino. Ino got some buffs. I can't outline the specifics of all the patch notes. I really only know Giovanna. But she didn't get touched too much because she got a lot of really aggressive stuff in the patch before this one, which made like her pressure game a lot better. My response here is to try and be patient, but it's been a while since I've played, not super long, but enough that, you know, I'm trying a couple of like really stupid things, throwing in that super and raw. I'm trying to find answers in the air. This gold burst really helps. Just gives me a chance to toss out a Ventania. One thing I've been trying to incorporate more into my game plan, especially against Celestial opponents, is Gold Burst. Unfortunately, I try and do Travail, and they end up using their special there. But, you know, I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, be a bit more defensive. Dash up throws with Geo are still good, although the window for throw teching is a little bit more lenient now, so it's not as powerful an option as it once was, but it's still a pretty powerful option. Here, you know, I have the meter to spend. I might as well go into Tempestad. I want to end these fights quick because in my experience, if I have a life lead, I really need to take advantage of it. You know, I played a lot today, and I lost more than I won. You're going to see that when I show off a match, particularly against Ramlethal. This was just a pretty solid match against Eno. I think Eno's a matchup that I like, even if I do get schmixed from time to time. And I'm definitely like shaking off some rust with this particular battle. One thing I've learned a lot from Geo is just making my confirms a little stronger, making sure that I'm doing jabs, and now that I can do some of the air gatling stuff, eventually you'll see in other fights I'm gonna start using it more. But for now, like jump in, jab, fair enough way to approach. This one gets really close though. They land, I take a chance and do a reversal super, and I get them. It's kind of risky, but I was kind of betting on the on landing recovery to get me there. This is not a Celestial player. I forget which rank this person is. Definitely lower than me, like I don't know, 7, 8. I feel kind of bad, but I like the narrative of what happens here. And again, I'm playing like a dipshit lately because my brain is so split. I like that air grab there. So for now, it's just like, this was a good chance to be like, well, how is Giovanna's pressure just in general? You know, ignoring the Faultless Defense changes. You know, can I take advantage of that sort of thing? And the answer is mostly yeah. It doesn't feel too different. A lot of your options are relatively the same. I know, you know, some people in Discords are like, oh man, like all our routes are changing. And the answer is, I feel like a lot of Giovanna bread and butter is still there. And then just knowing how to mix up the proper options will get you through, especially lower ranks, certainly. Just knowing when to, like, hey, do a toss-up throw. Hey, know when to go low and then confirm into your super, right? Really get those key skills down. I feel bad that I'm beating up this person, but spoiler alert, in the 3rd round, he's going to beat me. So that's why I have this here. Not because I'm like, look at me beat up this lower rank Zato, but because, you know, I am Stella getting my groove back, and there's definitely mistakes here that I need to sit and assess. This is not comprehensive analysis by any means. This is me looking at matches and assessing on the fly, understanding that, like, one of my biggest flaws right now is just, like, defense, and also just really, like, I need to understand the value of pushing less buttons and being a little bit more deliberate with some of what I'm doing. I need to reassess my matchup knowledge with pretty much every character in this game, now that certain things have changed. But, you know, my fundamental understanding of Giovanna hasn't changed. My time away from the game, which again hasn't been long, has slightly affected my executional level. And then, you know, if and when I'm fighting Celestial players, the skill gap varies so much that the focus required is just like something I pour my whole being into. Like, I think I'm going to be fine streaming casual Street Fighter. I think I'm going to be mostly fine streaming, you know, even Multi-Blood, trying to do well in Multi-Blood and really learn. But Strive, I've reached a point where, you know, kind of like I mentioned in that video, where, like, I really want to deliver a sort of high level of performance that I think is worthy of people who are watching this. and it properly reflects the good fortune that I've had to reach the ranks that I have, where, you know, to a certain extent, sometimes I'm like, oh, what if I just lucked out in my matchups, which is true, right? Because again, that skill range is so varied that when you're doing your celestial placement, you can get anything. And then, you know, today when I was up there for a little bit, like, the people who were in there were like the real sweaty folks who were like, this is where they live. Whereas at least in the park, people were more willing to experiment. They were willing to do longer sets. I think that park monsters are their own breed of like bananas people, but at the same time, Celestial is weird. I don't want to talk about it too much, but you know, I'm definitely at a point where I need to go over pre-existing like bad habits, and like really just have some folks who are going to be honest with me and be like, yo, you suck at this, you suck at this thing, or at least be honest with myself and say I suck at this thing. Right now, a thing that I'm sucking at is, you know, I'm actually giving this Zato like way too much deference, and I'm actually not taking advantage of my new air routes to really do a lot to him. I am being like, one thing I am happy about with this fight, even though it's a lower ranked player, is not that Ventania, but Ventania, but is the fact that at least for the most part, the way I'm approaching and dealing with Eddie is okay. The way that like, hey, like I'm in a corner and yeah, maybe he can jab me out, but I'm still gonna try and do pressure. It's like I'm not playing too scared, even if I am backing off a little more than I would like. But you know, when a pose comes out, like I'm just gonna jump over it. I'm just gonna try and find ways to really push through it. I think a lot of people get really intimidated by that move, but like, fuck it, travail through it if you can. You know, it's not as intimidating anymore, although like, you know, I misjudged there, and you know, my you know, this is a fair enough confirm, but that's a good burst by them, right? Like, I think one of the reasons I wanted to show all of this as opposed to just like what I've liked doing lately is like when I'm showing things is excerpting like interesting rounds. But that was a full match where I think I'm very glad for that player. I'm very happy for them. This is a Celestial Potemkin, and Potemkin has had some interesting changes. First of all, Garuda Impact was nerfed, but you could barely tell because it's like the strongest thing ever. Like, I guess FT changes are supposed to make that more bearable, but it's Garuda Impact. It's the best skill in the fucking game. His 6P and a couple other things, I believe, can lead into Pot Buster and some other grab options. So in general, you should expect going up against Potemkins for them to land more grabs. So if you're playing as Giovanna, what you really need to do here is really pressure. That use of Tempestad is okay. I thought it would maybe do more damage. That block there, I think I'm really proud of. Like, so, spoiler alert, I will lose, broadly speaking. I wasn't expecting the Mega Fist to hit there. I thought I was going to catch him, like, on his, other, you know, fall. Instead, Mega Fist hits. But, you know, the key thing with Potemkin is, and I think with a lot of grapplers, if you're playing a rushdown character or pressure character, is like, don't, like, you have to respect their options, but at the same time, the answer to dealing with Potemkin is, first off, don't get hit by all these fucking Mega Fists, Harper. And then also, I can't believe I got hit by that many Mega Fists, is also like, man, just chase him down. Do not let him get those setups at all. We're going to do a handful of matches against this Ramlethal. And you're going to start to see me use more air options. This is a very weird back and forth one. That gold burst is stellar on their part. That's a good use of Sol Nascente, kind of the way that I think the developers intend for you to use it. So that's very good. These jump-ins are fine. A solid confirm here. I think 2H is an awkward skill, but you can use it to fish for certain things. And here, it's not quite a frame trap, right? They were using FD, but I do go low after using the Travail, and that ends up getting me in there, which is great. You can see I've been playing for a while now. I'm trying to, I'm not going to let them hold me in the corner with those swords, although, I say that now, but they managed to do it plenty. This Ventania, there's just been some Ventanias today where it's just kind of a mistake. You can see though, when the swords are out, I'm really trying to avoid the corner stuff. This is just a dash back and forth heavy thing. I think part of the answer to this match would have been man, input your Sol Nascente, input your anti-air way more. If I know they're going to be that airborne and they're that close, I should be popping that thing as much as possible. I'm trying a variety of options. I've found that throws whiff a little bit more now. I wonder if that's just my brain being in other game mode or something, but I've whiffed more throws, even though throws are still an incredibly powerful option for Giovanna. In general, throws are a good option in this game, right? You don't have to always strike, but I do think that Giovanna's movement makes throws very good. You can see there, though, one of the things, first off, bad burst by me that gets me into this corner pressure situation, which is just going to totally rock my world. Right, that's death. One thing you're going to see, though, in this matchup is that this Ramlethal very properly, from time to time, uses Faultless Defense in a way that stuffs my pressure, because at least, oh no, they're blocking there. It's that's fine. There's some more of those air options, right? Finding different ways to jump in. I'm using that burst to just, try and keep them in the corner. It's not as great. Again, my approaches here are bad. This is a round where I'm just going to get kind of beat the heck up. But one thing I do like about these matches is I do appreciate the way that this Ramlethal is controlling space. They're using some more overhead things, PRCing, and then they're also, the biggest thing about why I wanted to show off some of these matches was the Faultless Defense change, which affects. I used to think that Ramlethal was actually one of my easier matchups. Fighting this Ram today, first off, I'm a scuzzy scum person who's bad at video games, I guess. But also FD can really have a broad impact on how this matchup plays out compared to how it would go before, because yeah, I can dash around neutral space, but Ramlethal has great neutral options too. Her attacks are so large. That's a good confirm there. Good for me. Pixel of health. You jump in and you jab them. But by using FD to push out of the corner, and then kind of drive me to their own corner where they want to do their sword set play, it starts to be really effective as an option. Which means that in this matchup, a big thing for me will be reassessing how Giovanna's neutral movement will allow me to deal with Ramlethal in the center of the screen, and then obviously get her into my win condition, which is getting her into the corner. We had some frame issues there. She hit me so hard the frames got messed up. Clash. Run up throw, you toss it in there a little bit, doing the jump options. I was trying to maybe see if I could do a gold burst there. Instead I just kind of waste my burst. We both kind of wasted our burst. It's fine. This is where I feel a little bit more comfortable, but again, you can see that Faultless Defense, they're using it pretty wisely to try and stuff my pressure. I think this is somebody who really took the patch notes to heart. I kind of do that thing I love to do, which is either PRC, cancel Ventania, or depending on if it's hitting RRC into an overhead or even a low, right? It turns Ventania, right? You cancel the potential damage that you get from your super, which is going to get blocked anyway, and you turn it into a 50-50 situation, which I think is a really cool thing to do, and tends to get you, if you have a bad super that you've tossed out, it allows you to sort of reset your pressure. That's part of what roaming cancels are all about, but for Giovanna, it's really important because it can be a tool almost for mix-up, right? There we hit some frames again, unfortunately. Wanted to play this Ramlethal a lot, but the frames are a problem. Lots of FD. That's good and bad. That's a very bad burst for my part. The heavy use of FD means that there have been some cases, at the very least, where I've not had another decent confirm right there, where I've not had another run-up throw. Did I just run up and throw them? Yeah. Doing some air stuff there. This is dangerous for me. I'm trying to FD here. They delay their Rekka a little bit. Either that or I think it's overhead and it hits me. So this player was giving me a run for their money, for sure. But we're going to have a nice match against them pretty soon. Nice gold burst, right? For a while, it's going to look like I waste this. But that's what I'm talking about, where it's like, I talked about it in that previous video where like sometimes the goal is to incorporate small things. And for me, it was like, what are things that I can incorporate? Well, I need to get executionally better. We can figure that out. But also, what are some tools that I've not been using? And burst is one where it's like, well, if I can use that more offensively. And I think that benefits Giovanna in some very serious ways. So here, for instance, gold burst is just like perfect. I get the 2 supers. I can hop in. I can go for the overhead. It was still a very close call, but heading into matches today, was like, what if I gold bursted a little bit more? And at the very least, I saw some returns in this round, in this match, which I liked. A big thing I need to do is just like really just play this game more. My confirms are pretty clean. I think I'm making some questionable decisions on like what attacks to use, and I think just like with Saber in Multi-Blood, I need to start actually like labbing out with very strong consistency, different strings, different combos that will get me places. Hey, it's my least favorite character in the entire game. It's Anji Mito, partially because I hate his character design and concept, partially because we talk about gorilla characters and everybody talks about Leo. I think the biggest gorilla in the game is Anji. All Anji knows is Fujin. That's another bad Ventania. Just had some bad ones today where I'm like, I don't know what I'm trying to call out. But yeah, we're trying to do some more corner stuff here using jumps and a couple of other different options, which is pretty cool. I think I have a reversal here. Yeah, there it is, right? There's, but then again, if Anji had meter, he could use his reversal on my reversal, like his counter parry thing. How do you deal with Anji? Really vary the attacks that you're doing, and then also like just like go ham. I know that's like the case for like anybody with Giovanna, but because he has those armor frames, like those clash type frames, the thing you need to do is really mix it up, because he has those mix-up options off Fujin that you need to watch out for. So you sort of have to play his own game. And because he can cancel into a lot of those now on whiff or anything, you really just need to mess around with your options. Butterfly's a little faster now. It didn't affect things too much, but as you can see, bad burst, he gets me. I think Anji's a character I find frustrating, but that's like for personal reasons. That's an example of how the better throw teching helps. When he does some of his spinning, like the solution is obviously throw, and Giovanna is one of the characters that can really capitalize on that, right? And you can do that in the corner as well. But like that right there, I hit the clash frames, but under the right circumstances, when he's doing that in neutral, like the best thing you can do as a Giovanna is dash in super fast and just throw him. Just throw his ass to the ground, right? 100% beat him up, because otherwise you'll do that. You can do a wake up throw there or something. He can throw you back. The projectile actually gets me there, which I'm rather surprised about. This is an interesting situation with YRC. I wait a little bit before doing the input for my reversal. And we get him. This is Faust. Played a handful of matches against him. Mostly just going to show off this one. I think I lose this one. Because, you know, between Faust and Anji, those are characters that people think, like, oh, they're very bad. I think Faust isn't, you know, the top tier character anymore. That, you know, not that he ever was, but, you know, what I mean is I don't think all of a sudden he's shooting into the air of things. But I do think, first off, great round by me. Congratulations, Harper. But I do think that the way that his items have been changed in order to make sure, if he's tossed out banana, he'll toss out peel, and a couple other things have changed. Fighting against him, it's clear that he's more aggressive. I think some of his buttons are actually really good buttons. They're very, very fast. I find that Faust is a character who very frustratingly can outrange me, right? And who sometimes has mash, buttons that he can mash out that can catch me in the middle of certain actions that I think maybe some characters don't even have. But I mean, everybody I think got some faster buttons this time around too, which is going to affect the way that I think about my pressure. I feel like I'm going bonkers, but I feel like the bombs are bigger. I don't think that's true. I think that's a mental thing. This is definitely like this dude loves the air, and I guess that's like, you know, you see me try and use Sol Nascente, but it's like after he's landed, right? When the things that I really need to be doing for Faust now is because he's such an airborne character. When, you know, he's up there throwing bombs or whatever, the thing that I should do is I should really I should have comboed on that. I think that's gonna cost me this match, really. But like that's just like prime Sol Nascente territory. I don't know if I'm able to get a reversal off here. I think he's probably gonna stab me out. Yeah, he gets me in the air here. I think that actually would have beaten my anti-air as well. Jacko, another, like, we're kind of ending with matchups that are like either matchups I have less experience with or ones that I find are interesting. As much as I hate Anji, I think it's an interesting matchup, especially now that he's so different than he initially was. I think, you know, I've gone up against Celestial Jackos and won, and then the key there again is just pressure. You have to hit her to get rid of the minions. But I'm also finding that people are being much smarter about how they throw out minions, not just on like knockdown, but in other occasions. They're just kind of like tapping out until I can toss something big to hit her. That was a weird situation. But I also wanted to show this off because I wanted to show this just how dominant somebody who's really kind of devoted a lot of time to Jacko can be, because in theory for this match I'm the aggressor, right? Like Giovanna is the aggressor and Jacko is the defender, but I'm doing my best to respond and toss out a lot of things here, but a simple confirm can lead to a lot because she has decent normal, so Jacko takes me out there. I probably could have, I could have won, right? And then also you're going to see just really dominant servant use in this match, this round, I believe, which is to say that you start to see folks, like this person is somebody who's like played a fair amount of Jacko, so you can see them like using the defensive option, which was like that right there. When Jacko was first out and about, like nobody was really using that. That's like such a simple cross-up option that they've got me in, but I'm just boxed in, right? And like just with some very simple set play, they can do some very big things. I think this is the last match Axl got kind of nerfed, but this has always been, I think this has always been like a 50-50 matchup, maybe slight Giovanna advantage. because a good Axl is gonna not let anyone in. But the thing is that if I get in as Giovanna, then I'm gonna make their day very, very bad. I mean, he has close range answers, but it's definitely a thing where it's like, this dude, we all know what Axl's gimmick is, and his gimmick is like fighting from far away. I thought that maybe I could catch him on the jump. I think he gets me here instead. You know, some of my Ventania usage today was very loose. I need to kind of reassess the moments when I do it. Maybe I should just really devote myself to using it off of a confirm, and then not using it in any other cases. Using some of those jump options to not go into attack angles that maybe he's expecting in the corner. I thought maybe I could get the air Rekka there, but I don't. Now we're just trying to keep up the pressure. He's using FD, but it's not mattering too much because he's only using it once, and I think the thing I hit the FD with is my 5P, so the knockback isn't too huge. So not too bad. If you're expecting an opponent to use FD and you don't want to use that block string that we were talking about earlier, then an option is to just to jab out and then maybe see if you can catch them on something else, like maybe you know, you mash them out on an option. The other option here is one that I'm trying to do a lot. First off is another solid confirm. Good job, Harper. It's to make sure that I am what was I trying to say? I don't even remember. Is making sure that you know, we're using air options, making sure that we are getting in there. I totally lost track of my train of thought. That's it though. This is where we were. I might loop this. That was fun. Not all the matches. I lost plenty. It was kind of rough, but that's just how things go. Streaming it is still very nerve-wracking for me, so I'll settle for putting it on all this on YouTube, where, you know, 30 of you, 40 of you can watch. That very heartfelt video I made about my anxiety streaming strive right now. Somebody downvoted it. Like, come on, man. Ridiculous. I do want to continue to improve. Whoa, that's a video file of a Skies of Arcadia thing that's playing. Wow, isn't that authentic? I was checking the YouTube channel for a second. I didn't realize there was noise. Whatever. I think Gio's in an okay place. FD makes her weaker, certainly. I think I need to devote myself again to playing, doing it on my own time, understanding that my nose is going to get very bloody. And much like with some of the other games I've done, really start to do beat by beat match analysis, which isn't what we did today, but what we will do in the future. So we will we'll go from there. I will loop in. I will have over this looped in more casual menu music or whatever. I think we will swap from the park to Celestial or something. But the new patch is pretty fun. The FD stuff a little bonkers, but I think most characters are in a solid place now. I like this game. I really do. I'm glad to share it with you in some form. I just wish I felt more confident streaming it right now, but I just don't. So I hope you at least enjoyed those matches, the wins and the losses. And yeah, Giovanna's great. I love my gal. I love her spirit wolf dog. Like I said, I like this game. So I'll see you all around. Goodbye.